Hello and welcome to the rant. Basically, I'm gonna design this podcast so I can let a little steam off. um, it's been bothering me for a while. Wife. I don't want to admit she's right, but your friends always use you. And you're like, no, no, no. I kind of use them too. She goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, yeah. So I've been in bands for started like when I was 21. Pretty much 94, 95% of every musician I've ever met is a fucking loser, How can you be a musician and not even own your own fucking equipment? That just blows my mind. Can't never figure it out. Would never even dream to show up. Yeah, I want to try out for your band. I'm a drummer, but I don't have no drums. Or I'm a guitar player, and yeah, I pound all my shit off. And most of them are losers and don't work, and I have a couple peeves. One is I hate fucking late people. I'm one of those people that if I tell you I'm going to be there at 5, I'm going to be there at 20 minutes to 5. Me and the wife fight about all the time. We got to go somewhere. I don't want to be last one there. She's never ready. They're always got to do their hair or whatever. They wait till the last minute, and we'll get bickerments and fights because I'm the type of guy that likes to be there on time. So they're never punctual, and most of them don't own their equipment. So and or have a fucking job. What really got me going is the other day I get on Facebook. You're always hearing the pour me and I cry. Motherfuckers would be putting. They put this one post up, and it basically was this kid's birthday. It must have been his 16th birthday, and his little brother's getting it on the phone for that precious moment. And mommy comes out of the house, and daddy with little 16-year-old Jimmy, and she's got her hands over his eyes to give him a surprise. And they're walking out of this, $300,000-$400,000 house, and go by dad's big lifted, $50,000 truck and mom's Mercedes out towards this piece of shit S10. And she uncovers the kid's eyes and says, surprise, and he's like, what? I'm not driving that. All my friends will think I'm poor. Well, in reality, kid, you are poor because your dad owns the house and all those cars, and you're living with daddy's money. You're fucking poor. But anyway, so his little spoiled ass, goes into the thing and he grabs a fucking bat and goes by his dad, and his dad kind of cowers. My old man would have just took a swing from the bat and then whipped my ass, but this dad just backed off. Now Jimmy quit, and this fucking kid went up and down one side of that truck beating on it. Well, that's pretty bad. Kid is spoiled rotten. The thing is the person that sent it goes, that's wrong with the kids today. They're fucking spoiled rotten. And this come from a kid that I grew up with who used to call his mom bitch and all this. This kid had every fucking Atari game, Pepsi's, fucking fast food all the time. He had it fucking made. Treated his parents like shit. And now that he's a 40-year-old man, gonna call this kid a spoiled rotten brat. I mean, it's kettle calling the pot fucking black. I don't know. That just kind of, it's like, and you really want to say something, but you don't want to embarrass people and go on and start big old fucking wars. But there's always somebody crying, poor me, man. Poor me, I'm having a hard time. Yeah, well, if you fucking worked 40 hours a week, maybe you wouldn't have such a hard time. Or, hey, maybe when you get that fucking paycheck, instead of going buying a bag of dope, not that I have anything against it, but, if I had to eat or buy a bag of dope, I'd fucking eat. Some people buy that bag of dope, People in my whole life have been this way, and they're the ones that are always crying, wanting some help. I need help, I ain't got no money. Well, you didn't go to work 3 days this week, and you fucking find a new job every 5 days. Oh, and when you do get money, you spend it so wisely. There's nothing worse than giving a fucking poor person money. I was working with this one guy one time, and he won some fucking lawsuit. He come in, he got one of his settlement checks. I don't know, they spread it out over years, and comes in with a big truck and a big car, and he's eating fancy food every day, and he's taking all his buddies out to the bar, and I'm playing out at the time, and he comes out and he brings like 20 of his buddies, and he's paying the tab on this credit card, and he goes, you want a beer? I was like, no, man, I can buy my own. Thanks for coming out. He's like, no, man, I'll buy you one. I'm like, dude, I got my own money. He goes, you can't compete. What the fuck, I can't compete? No, I can't compete with a fucking credit card that I know you ain't never going to pay for. So, hey, money runs out. 2 months later, he's eating peanut butter and jelly because he ain't got no more money. Filing bankruptcy, living home with mama. So then selling everything he bought off. 5 years later, he gets his another settlement. It's even bigger. I don't know what it is. Probably 50, 100 grand by this time. Back to buying four-wheelers, this, that, and the other thing. And And he just lives his life, and then 6 months later, he's poor getting peanut butter and jelly all week at fucking work. Then he finally gets another one, another fucking settlement in, and by this time he had bought a house, and he goes, I got this money because I think his mom died and he even got more money. So he's like, I'm thinking about, putting like 10 grand down on my house and I'm lower my payment. And I'm like, that won't lower your payment. You have to refinance it, which will probably cost you the 10 grand. But he's like, whatever, then fuck it. I'm like, you have enough money. Why don't you just pay it off? And the guy looks at me and he goes, that's your dream, not mine. What do you mean it's my dream? Because I work for my money. My dream is not to have a fucking house payment, which my dreams came true because I had downsized and quit trying to keep up with the fucking Joneses and having the big house with the big in-ground pool, even though my wife would not agree. But, I managed to get a piece of shit house that I had to work on and pay it off. So it's free and clear. I could work at McDonald's and live. This guy loses his house back in the Skid Row and gets money, does it over and over again. He's never going to learn. You give a poor person money that didn't have to work for it. Not that he had working in him, don't get me wrong. This guy could go to the bar and not show up to fucking work, And I'd be there with him, drink more than he did, and be there 2 hours before he's supposed to be there. So I just don't ever get it. And those are the people crying, life sucks, baby. Or I got other examples, people I know, life sucks, what going on me? Well, let's see. You live for 10 years on welfare. Getting free money for kids because they never said you were the daddy, and then when that all dries up and you actually have to work for a living, it sucks to have to use 40 hours of your paycheck to pay bills instead of free money that I pay for. Problem is, you can't work 40 hours because you're fucking lazy. You spend too much time whining and crying. Had another guy at work used to get pissed off if his work made him come back pick something up. So to show them, I'll show you. I'm not coming into work tomorrow. Well, how does that fucking help? You're not getting fucking paid. Who are you showing anything? Well, I ain't coming into work. I'm gonna go on Facebook, fucking cry. Life sucks, people sucks, can't fucking get fucking ahead. I'm always behind, but every time I get paid, I go get 14 fucking tattoos and a bag of dope. Fuck the bill, Chick used to live across the street. Funny as hell. She come over and friended my wife, right? She's there first day. She's in there telling her how great she is and how great she is with her kids and how much better she is than everybody else and la, 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 la. 2 weeks later, old man's kicking her naked outside the door because she's fucking drunk and stupid. Coming over every other day. Kurt, could you do breaks for me because we can't afford to do breaks, So I'm sitting there after I fucking worked fucking paper out in the morning and then worked fucking 10 hours at work. I'm home. I want to drink some fucking beer. And I got to do fucking break jobs because her husband don't know how to breaks, which not everybody knows how to do it. I had to learn to do it because I couldn't afford to fucking pay somebody to do it. So I'm out there doing her fucking breaks. Then she goes to get married. So she's getting married to this guy, and now I'm starting to see she's kind of an alcoholic. Not that I got any room to talk. I drink when I get off work. What I do on home is my own business, but I'm all about business when I'm at work, and that's just the way it is, and I've always been that way. I don't call in sick. I don't miss. If I fucking go out and party all night, I just feel like shit tomorrow. It's just how it is. American dream, right? So again, got somebody. So I stood up in their fucking wedding. Didn't even know I just met her husband. And so I'm standing up at their wedding and just watching the chaos go on at their house, And her theory was, I think at the time we were living in a trailer park, lot rent was like $320 a month, and she'd get her check and go, I only got $200. Instead of put that fucking $200 aside till next week so she could make it, she'd go out and spend it because she didn't have enough. And then I'd have to listen to her cry to my wife how she's going to get evicted if she don't cough up $340 and she don't have any money and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Constantly doing that month after month after month after month. Neither one want to work any harder, pick up an extra job, or just do anything. Just whine and complain and piss the money away. She's always getting drunk, always smoking dope. Not that I'm just using dope as a metaphor. It could be fucking shopping at QVC, whatever the fuck you spend your money on. And so she fucking eventually, goes to go to work one day and wants to drop her kids off. Now, mind you, one of her kids is the same age as my oldest, and at the time he was probably 13, but her kid wasn't responsible enough to watch his little brother, so she wanted Kel to watch it, and Kel's like, I can't watch the kid tonight. She had to go take a test or something. I don't recall what it was. She said, when I get home, I will. She's like, okay, so Kelly leaves. As soon as she leaves, chick comes over, drops the kids off with my kids, and I had a chow at the time. Best dog in the fucking world. Never heard a kid, and wrestling's real big that they're all watching. Well, I guess because I wasn't there. Uh, the fucking little kid got on the chow's back and he put his arms around his neck and did like the full Nelson pulling up. So the dog turned its head and pushed the kid off with its mouth. That's all he has. He doesn't fucking have hands, right? Puts a little fucking tooth mark in the kid's jaw or cheek. Kel went with her to the hospital and all that. Didn't even get a stitch. We got sued. They settled out of court for 50 grand. And I didn't have a problem with it. I'm like, whatever. 50 grand, as long as the parents can't touch it, I'm cool. Kid have some money, get going, you know. And our insurance company, these are your friends. And I'm like, yeah, well, did you talk to them about it? I'm like, no. I said, I see a fucking Cadillac in the yard. Next thing you know, I'm getting this paper and I'm getting sued. And then I called the guy over. I'm like, hey, man, come here. And he sits down. I'm like, what's this you're suing me? He goes, well, you never stopped by to ask if it's all right. I'm like, what do you mean if it's all right? My wife took your fucking wife and the kid to the fucking hospital. Why would I have to ask you if it's all right? Well, I'm like, I fucking stood up in your weddings. I've done this. I've done that. Now you're fucking suing me. Really? And he's like, I'm like, if I ever see you again, I'm beating the shit out of you. I was pissed off, you know. And, you know, looking back, it's whatever. If he'd have come to me, I'd probably let him have the fucking money. Whatever. And so they go through this, and they set out of court for the 50 grand. And so now her and this other chick's no longer friends, and he's across the street, and he's putting restraining orders on me, or going to put one, and I get threatened because I threatened him. I just said he'd come in my yard and beat the fuck out of you. I'm pissed off. So goes on by, and I hear through the grapevine that they got divorced and they split up, and every little opportunity they could get, they, you know, were trying to get that money because it was going to make their life better. And if you'd have gave them the 50 grand, which they probably squandered all, that kid probably doesn't have shit. I don't know. I know both their lives, they separated because she was fucking, he wasn't as bad as her, don't get me wrong, but I still think it was kind of a stab in the back. He got sued, but it's whatever. And, you know, it's just how they live. They live for now, or getting something for free, or how can I, you know, get out of this, or go buy this, or do this. People just don't want to work for, you know, what they want. Me, I was working construction. I did the whole work till noon, go smoke dope, go drink beer, rain, don't work for 3 days, and then all of a sudden I got to pay child support and have a kid on the way. So I went and got a 40-hour-a-week job. You know, I was making $6 an hour. I went from 10 to 6. You know, I'm fucking 17 years old, started a company. I stayed there forever because it had insurance and I had a 40-hour paycheck, and I worked my way up. You can't work your way up fucking getting a job every 3 days, because you get a job, and instead of finding another job, you just say, fuck this job, or they say, fuck you, because you didn't show up 3 days your first fucking week, and you get 55 fucking thousand million jobs, and at the end of the year, you make 4 times what you pay in taxes because you didn't make no money because you're in poverty, but you're really in fucking poverty because you're a loser and you won't fucking go to work. So, people and crybaby shit on fucking Facebook just drive me crazy. Anyway, this was just a trial run on my rant. Normally I'll try to structure it a little better or do some shit, but some shit's been bothering me just about stupid fucking crybaby people, and I just want to go all over Facebook and just whack them, but, you know, that's wrong. So I'll just generalize my whacks, and here on Sundays after band practice, I'll have Rob and Craig here. We'll be just bouncing shit off each other just for shits and giggles, but that's my rant for Thursday night. Thanks.